figured it out. When I hit the button too fast, it thinks that I'm double pushing it and I'm trying to flip the screen around. This is the S Pen for the phone. But if I long press it, by that I mean like for actually like a second, and then let go, it starts the video and stops the video. Because it kept going like back and forth. Like sometimes I'll push it, it'll start the video. Sometimes I'll push it and it'll just flip the screen around. I'm like, you have one job. Well, no, it actually has a couple of jobs. I haven't even figured them all out yet, but I don't really care. All I need is a start, stop. I don't need this thing flipping the screen around on me. But then again, now that I know it does that, it might come in handy. I have a really, I think, pretty cool topic to talk about today. But what would an undeserved flavor video be lately without starting off with a little acknowledgement of our dear friend who just can't stay out of the comment section, Bobby Proctor. How you doing, Bob? Oh, here's what he has to say 16 minutes ago. You're what the Apostle Paul would call a wolf. He would have no problem calling you one as well. Wait a minute. You're what the Apostle Paul would call a wolf. He would have no problem calling you one as well. Oh, you're saying he would call me a wolf and he wouldn't have a problem with it. I'll take that as a compliment. I like being a heretic too. You know the meaning of heretic literally means one who chooses. I made a choice to believe what I believe. I didn't let someone else believe it for me. Heretics were people who questioned things when the establishment wanted everyone to believe a certain way. Heretics were often put to death. The reformers advocated Martin Luther, John Calvin. They advocated for the torturous death of people who disagreed on minor points of theology. Because of their twisted theology, they could justify murder, which is somewhere in there in the Ten Commandments. Because technically, according to their theology, if you are steering one away from eternal life, you are murdering one's soul, so you are worse than a murderer, so you should be put to death. The incoherence of that line of thinking, I don't know if there's a chart that could handle that level of incoherence. It's off the charts. All right, let's jump in. So, oh man, I think I might have lost the comment. I published a comment on a video in response to a comment that was like 9 months old. By the way, sorry if you're just now getting a response from me after posting a comment like a year ago or 2 years ago. I'm like, I get to the comments through the YouTube Studio app, and literally like this past week, all of a sudden, as I'm scrolling comments, it's like it loaded 1,000 new ones that I haven't seen. I'm like, where did all these come from? And then I looked, I'm like, a year ago, 2 years ago, what the heck? How come I never saw any of these comments? It's like, whenever I would log into YouTube from my channel or log into YouTube Studio under my account, these comments wouldn't show up. I guess I would have had to log in under a different YouTube account and I would be able to see these comments. That makes no sense at all. But anyway, sorry for not getting back to your comments, because I like getting back to literally every comment and acknowledging y'all's interaction with the channel. So I'm getting back to them now. better late than never, right? That said, I want to get to a comment that I just replied to. I may have to. It's only going to take me a second. I know which video it's on, so it's going to take me a second because I got to scroll back. It was like number 15 of my 150 reasons universal salvation is the gospel. By the way, I do have 150. I actually have a lot more than 150. I just I've kind of put that little project on pause for really no reason. I'll get to it. If you want to see more of those, for a while it was getting kind of redundant. So I kind of, it's like beating a dead horse, but I'll get back to them. I said there's 150. I actually have 150. I have probably over 200 in reality, but the inspiration for this project was a book literally called 150 Reasons Universal Salvation is the Gospel. So I literally was using that as kind of the inspiration for this project, but I obviously have a lot of additional reasons that are not from that particular project. And if you've actually read that book and you've actually listened to every reason that I put up here, you'll notice that there's a handful of them that they're not just verbatim from the book. It's not just a complete work of plagiarism. But that said, speaking of plagiarism, I will wholeheartedly and unabashedly admit, because it's not something I care about, that virtually everything I say on this channel and everything that I've come to believe, I've gotten from someone else. That's life. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. If I'm quoting from someone else, if I gave them the credit for the quote every single time I spoke, I'd be crediting someone else every time I speak. Everything I've learned, everything I talk about, I've literally got from watching someone else or reading somebody else's book. Whether it's modern thoughts and research and books or content or old stuff from hundreds or thousands of years ago. We all get our stuff from someone else. So very few times have I actually just verbatim done something where you could say he literally took someone else's content. There was one time I did that. It was a post on Facebook. Someone else made a post. I copied it, pasted it on my page, and then I didn't know who the original poster was. But I actually said that in the video that I made about it, that I didn't remember who posted it originally. And then while reading it, I'm like, I think I know who this is. And then I said the name. So, I'm not sitting here trying to monetize other people's work or capitalize on it in any way. Be kind of hard to capitalize on other people's work if I'm not making any money on any of this. Literally have yet to receive a red cent. I know I've asked for, I haven't really asked for donations. I have put it out there, because I know out there's people that might be feeling led. I get led occasionally to give somebody something, and it ends up being like, oh my gosh, total God moment. Like it couldn't have been perfect time. There couldn't have been a better time. So I figured, you know what? Why not open myself up to something like that? So I'll put that, occasionally in the comments, Venmo, Cash App. I don't know if I'll put it in this channel. At some point, I'm probably going to put it on all my videos because it's like, why the heck not? You have not because you ask not. It'd be great if I had enough revenue coming in from this project here, or this channel, that I didn't have to actually go to work. That'd be great. I don't ever see that happening, but at this time, I'm not making a dime, and I'm not doing it for the money. So moving on, I have the comment here, or should I say the video. I think. I could have swore it was number 15, but that comment is not there. All right. Well, I guess it wasn't 15. Yeah, it was. But why? Oh, maybe I clicked on the wrong one. All right, let's see. But then when I go to, oh my gosh. Okay, so YouTube's still being weird about comments. So in YouTube Studio now, I actually see there's 13 comments on this video. But then when I go into the video on YouTube, it literally only says there's 2 comments. One second. Oh, I hate when that happens. I paused the video to look at a message that was coming in that could have been of importance. But then when I came back, the video was not paused, it was stopped. Why do I hate when that happens? Because now I actually have to edit the video, and then to render the video, it's going to take like an hour or more because my phone is not fast. So anyway, as I was saying, in YouTube Studio, I see it says 13 comments, but then I go over to YouTube and click on the actual video. It says there's 2 comments. Doesn't make any sense at all. Let me see if I can figure this out here. Because I'm pretty sure sorry, bear with me here. Like I said, this was on, so if you go into shorts, go down to number 15 of 150 reasons. Okay, now it says there's only 2 comments on the video. Unless I'm not looking at the, unless I'm remembering wrong. Was it a different one? But why on YouTube Studio does it say that that particular video has 13 comments, yet I can't see them? All right, I'm going to pause this video. Found it. Was number 9. But I don't know what's going on with that other video. Why I can see there's 13 comments on a video through the Studio app, YouTube Studio, but when I go into the actual YouTube app and watch the video and look at the comments, there's 2 comments, and I can only see the 2 comments. Doesn't make any sense. Whatever, I'll figure that out later. So here on number 9 of 150 reasons, somebody commented, oh my gosh, I just blended 2 things that I intended on doing for videos. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do, because I don't want to just waste all of the not very valuable video footage that you have now just watched. I'm going to actually go in here and read some of my comments to this particular 9-month-old comment, because hey, we're this far in. And then I'm going to start a new video. So I'll have a second video coming up today that will address what I originally wanted to address, which is the Book of Revelation. My apologies, but hey, I'm going to bring you something here. So anyway, this person was referring to obviously number 9 in 150 Reasons Universalism is the Gospel. They said the term quote unquote father in Malachi is referring to Abraham. Have we all not one father? Hath not one God created us? Why do we treacherously every man against his brother? Why do we deal treacherously against every man against his brother? By profaning the covenant of our fathers. Fathers, quote unquote, is used again to refer to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as fathers of the children of Israel, not God. The Bible does not say that all mankind are his children. That is why Jesus said to Nicodemus in John 3, you must be born again. Okay, well, I'm going to directly answer that comment, which is out of the order of my answers in the comments section. Number 1, the Bible does actually say we're all children of God. I believe there's one good example in Paul telling the pagans at Mars Hill that God is their father. He is the father of everyone, every nation, and lives in them. If you want to find more examples, you're welcome to. But I'm here right now telling you multiple times in the Bible, it says God is the father of all things, in all of creation, in all mankind. And to be completely honest, it's not a hard concept to agree with. Just giving the character and nature of God, being creator. So by definition, as creator, he is the father of everything. Next point, the Bible, he says, you must be born again. Bad translation. Better translation. You are born from above. How is it you do not understand this? There, problem solved. Again, bad translation. You must be born again. To fit an agenda of a religious group that wanted people to fall in line and follow rules, follow orders, stay submissive. Better translation, or should I say more accurate translation? You are born from above, Nicodemus. How is it that you do not understand these things? Simple as that. I'm not going to expound on that any further. If you want to talk about it, we can get into it in the comments. And if it grows from there, maybe I'll do another video. But somebody else jumped into this comment thread and said, okay, well, what about all the other scriptures that blatantly support the claim of this video? And they said, can you show me the scripture that supports God being father of mankind? So they're back and forth. Okay, so Ephesians 4:4-6. You can read the Bible till you're blue in the face. It doesn't mean, hold on. You understand that what you're reading. For example, reading modern-day superstitions into the text when you assume that Jesus referred to an ontological being when you said devil. The word actually simply means deceiver or slanderer, which could be anyone or even something such as a mindset or religion. Good point. I'm going to get to that. And they said Ephesians 4:4-6 is referring to believers. Other commenter said, that is your conjecture, making scriptures say what you need them in order to fit your beliefs. Which is a good point. Which is why we have thousands of denominations who all say, the Bible clearly says. And then they all go on to argue and debate over what the Bible clearly says. Why doesn't anybody want to go back and learn the culture of those who wrote the Bible or who the Bible was written to? Because you'd understand a lot more clearly. Moving on, we'll get into why that makes sense. This commenter says, anytime the devil is said in the Bible, it's always referring to a spirit or demon or Satan himself, the majority of the time. Do you believe that Jesus calls people, quote unquote, the children of God? That when he calls people the children of God, he is literal? But when he calls others the children of devil, he is not? The Bible already supports what Jesus says. Okay, I'm not going to go on to read this entire paragraph. But I said, not true. There are many uses for the term devil that are not referring to an unseen conscious creature. I am not saying this with the intention of saying that there's no such thing as an ontological being or an unseen spirit. So don't think that I'm going in that direction. But I am saying in the Old Testament, the spirit, the generic term, was understood to be a state of mind or emotion. People unfamiliar with the culture of those who brought us the scriptures too often just make beep up. Sorry, not sorry. When we don't have to. Because it's easier than seeking out the historical fact, truth. You're welcome to drink the Kool-Aid of some Protestant minister, but all you're doing is submitting yourself to another man's creative imagination. That's how cults are formed. Bobby? It's going to be an inside joke for a long time. I'm going to make a point and say, Bobby? Bobby, you're in a cult. Sorry. Open your eyes. Come on out. The water is fine. Got to think for yourself. God is a big boy. Jesus was not literally referring to the Jews as children of the devil. Think about it. They all had human parents that go back to Adam, the Son of God. Jesus used a metaphor. He was saying that they're living a lie. But you'd only know this if you had even a small amount of knowledge of that culture, and then you would understand more easily the reason they wanted to get rid of him. Because he offended them for telling them that they were living a lie. He was a threat to their religious system, and if he would go around basically telling everybody that they don't have to believe the religious bondage that they've been stuck in, it would be a threat to the Jewish the leadership. Just kind of like what ended up happening with Rome and the Catholicism. They ended up doing the exact same thing. They wanted to keep the dumb peasants dumb and keep them in line. When it's time to pay taxes, they'll find a good reason to tell them to pay taxes. When was that when you had to either buy your salvation or buy the salvation of deceased loved ones? What did they call that? Can't remember. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Tip of my tongue. Indulgences. Was a revenue generating scheme. Just like Jesus' day when he flipped the tables. The temple was essentially a shopping mall. People were exploiting it to make money. When people would come from all around, from all over the nations, to come to their once a year. There was something that would go on once a year. I don't know if it was Passover or what it was, but people would flock like the Muslims flock to Mecca. And there were a lot of locals that would take opportunity to sell things for sacrifice. Because imagine traveling land and sea, for days or months and thinking, I got to bring a cow to sacrifice, when I get there. How much easier would it be to just bring a few coins and buy one when you get there? Well, that's what a lot of people did. It became a normal thing to just, instead of bring your sacrifice, bring the money and buy one when you get there. And what happened was people were starting to sell things and exploit this opportunity. And instead of selling a cow for a normal price, they would sell it for 10 times that price, because when the people showed up, it was kind of like, well, now they're SOL. They need something to bring as a sacrifice. And they intended on bringing a cow, but they didn't want to travel with it. So now they're paying 10 times more. It's kind of like getting gas before you get to the airport and return your rental car. Same thing. Gas out here. Oh, it's $2.95. I'm in a hurry though. Got to get to the rental or the airport. And you get to the airport and it's $6 a gallon. Or you just say, forget it. And you drop your rental car off and they fill it up with gas for you and it's $10 a gallon. Same crap. Different culture. The Jews were doing it. The Catholics did it. They're taking opportunity to exploit a situation and make some money. And when power corrupts, they can take it a little too far. Got off in the weeds there a little bit, but what do you think? Like, valid point. Jesus was a threat to the Jewish system, and they had a good thing going. It's kind of like right now what's going on in the news, or Jeffrey Epstein's, list is being uncovered. Well, it's really not. They're just slowly appeasing the people, like throwing a bone, like, here's a scapegoat here and a scapegoat there, everywhere a scapegoat, throwing people under the bus just so so there's no outrage. But there's a corrupt overlord system that doesn't like when the apple cart is shaken, and it doesn't like when people are able to peer in behind the curtain. Well, that's what Jesus was doing. He was giving people, a chance to peer in to the corrupt and flawed system. And the powers that be didn't like it. So they killed him. Cross wasn't a magic trick. I mean, you could call it, the resurrection a magic trick. It's pretty cool and definitely of a power that is not of this world. But it wasn't the superstitious magic trick wherein, you can make a decision of your free will and choose to believe and make Jesus Lord of your life. And magically now you're saved, whereas before you were not. Magically now you are destined for bliss, and 10 seconds before you were destined to fry in your own fat for all eternity. Or maybe, God is merciful and he'll let you be annihilated so that all of your friends and family can miss you and grieve your loss for all of eternity. Oh, and that is unless God is a great deceiver and he wipes you from their memory. Is God a great deceiver? Or is he the revealer of truth? Is there nothing dark in him, or is God the great keeper of secrets? God is light, and in him there's no darkness. Okay? That means there's nothing hidden. That means he's not going to wipe your loved ones away from your memory. It means annihilationism is completely as incoherent as eternal conscious torment. Moving on. John 3, 9 through 10. This person commented, what was it? I wanted to get to it. John 3, whosoever is born of God. Oh, this is a good one. Whosoever is born of God doth not commit sin, for his seed remaineth in him, and he cannot sin, because he is born of God. In this the children of God are manifest. And the children of the devil, whosoever doeth not righteousness, is not of God, neither he that loveth not his brother. Oh, shucks. How am I going to deal with that one? It's a picture of what people look like, not a literal declaration of their identity. Again, it's allegory. You don't understand the culture whose mail you're reading. That's it. Think I was going to have a hard time overcoming that verse? I mean, obviously I could expound, I could go further, but why? Why beat a dead horse when that's it? Maybe it was anticlimactic, but it's stupidly simple. Like you'd think, oh my gosh, what am I gonna, like, how do I overcome, like you're new to this Christian Universalist thing, and like there's all these scary verses though, like how do I overcome them? Just chill and be at peace and realize it doesn't matter if you don't know them all by heart as to how to overcome them, but you can just be at peace knowing that there's a simple answer. You know, the whole point of this whole ride and journey is be at peace. It's good news. If it wasn't good news, it wouldn't be good news. Like, that's stupid simple, right? It wouldn't be good news if it wasn't good news. The word gospel literally means good news. It is the good news. It is the declaration of good tidings, good news. The gospel is the declaration, not the invitation, that God's will is good toward you in all. It's not complicated. Don't overdo it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't get yourself into the weeds, or you end up in a cult. This person goes on to say, now this is good because, yes, I said I'd do another video regarding the Book of Revelation. I'm not going to have time to do it today, looking at how far this video is going, but this is good. How about when Jesus was tempted in the wilderness by the devil? Do you believe it was just some random person trying to tempt Jesus? As you said? As who said? I didn't say some random person tempted Jesus. Maybe someone else in the comments did that I missed. Jesus made it very clear it was Satan who he was being tempted by. Again, the devil taketh him up to exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world. Yes, I know. This is going to be a hard one to overcome as a Christian Universalist, right? Or maybe as somebody who doesn't believe the devil is an ontological being, which I personally, well, you'll see in my comment here, I don't have any problem with the idea that Jesus may have been tempted in the wilderness by an actual malevolent spirit, because I don't feel it necessary to argue whether the devil is a real being or not, because I have interacted with demons. So I'm not going to say they're not real. But in this regard, we don't actually know if Jesus was being tempted by an actual demon or devil or Satan himself, if he is an ontological being, like a fallen angel. Here's why. If you were a Greek-speaking native of that land at the time Jesus walked, you would understand that this passage would just mean that Jesus was tempted by the same mental temptations that are common to man. Nobody enjoys starving. Wealth and power are very tempting, etc. So, because Jesus was God, he stepped down to experience man, like the experience of man, the experience of being human. How else would he do that? But by thrusting himself into a super tempting scenario. He was hungry. He saw wealth. He put himself up on top of a building. He probably got to the point where he was suicidal. Maybe he was dealing with ideations. He was trying to put himself in the shoes of what is common. Here's what I said. Jesus, God incarnate, thrust himself into the human experience, the battlefield of the mind. Not everything about Christianity is God and devil, angel and demon, spirit and flesh. I'm not saying nothing is, but not everything is. Another point. This person says, my belief comes from what the Bible said. Where does yours come from? Oh, well, I'll tell you. Your belief comes from what you've made up by reading a poor translation of someone else's mail. Am I an egotistical prick? I don't care. I'm spitting the facts because I don't like when people get manipulated. I don't like the injustice of control freaks. And that's what we have today. A lot of control freaks behind pulpits. Your belief comes from what you've made up by reading a poor translation of someone else's mail. And you don't even care to learn their culture, their thoughts, or their ways. You're content letting your own imagination fill in the monstrous gaps, which is why you have to pick and choose what passages to believe while having to do mental gymnastics to write off others. Now, you could turn that around and use that same line on me. I do mental gymnastics to write off others and pick and choose which ones to believe. I don't have a problem with that because I don't call the Bible the Word of God. I know that there are certain scriptures in the Bible that probably shouldn't have been in there. And at the end of the day, why shouldn't they have been in there? Well, if we're going to call the Bible the Word of God, then there's a lot of scriptures that shouldn't be in there because there's a lot of stuff in the Bible that's not the Word of God. There are a lot of verses in the Bible that could literally be called the Word of God. I still don't call them that because they don't call themselves that. So I don't really care. I don't have to do mental gymnastics to pick and choose which ones to believe. I can just literally tell you that verse is stupid. It's incoherent. It shouldn't be in the Bible. Or we're too far removed from the culture that wrote that verse. We just can't understand the point. We can't understand the metaphor. We have metaphors for everything. In our culture, every culture there's metaphors, there's common allegories. In this culture, they had a lot of apocalyptic imagery. It was very common for them to use apocalyptic imagery and strong rhetoric to get their point across, especially in terms of, religion and spirituality, and how to live in this life. The value of life was different than it is today. People could kill people more easily than we would today in a more civilized society. You go to an uncivilized part of the world and look at how easy it is for people to kill each other. There's not the value of a life differs based on the culture that you're in. So if you're in a culture that is travailing through the value of life. Like there's some people believe that life is not very valuable and some people believe it is very valuable. There's going to be an intellectual war between these worlds. And what's going to come of that, a byproduct of that characteristic of a culture like that is going to be strong rhetoric, apocalyptic imagery. Some people will kill for a loaf of bread and they won't think twice of it. They won't care. They're not going to go back and be like, man, I killed a human being and have PTSD and all that. If they're conditioned to grow up in a very animalistic perspective of reality, killing's not going to be that hard to do, you know? But then if you grow up civilized, where you value life and you have a, I don't know. I'm not going to get into that any further. If you want to get into that line of thinking more, drop it in the comments and we can get into it. But point made. Well, that's it for this particular comment thread. And I enjoy replying to the comments. What are your thoughts on this video? I know it was a little different than what I originally intended on talking about today. I'm going to try and actually get to the video topic that I wanted to talk about today, and that is the Book of Revelation, what it is not, how should we see it, how do I see it? You may already know, if you've seen my comment on the one of my more latest videos, or one of my most recent videos. Yeah, the thought stems from that. Let's see here. Yeah, this person commented, Revelation is the only book. And I think this person commented well-intentioned, good-hearted, good-natured. Wasn't for the sake of arguing. So when my reply and retort to this is not argumentative or demeaning or condescending or anything like that. It's simply a statement of my personal thoughts. I'm not disagreeing and I'm not disputing. I'm not arguing. I'm just sharing my thoughts. You are welcome to your thoughts. I'm going to share mine. That's what we're here for. That person has not commented in reply. That comment has been up for an hour. Go ahead and check it out. That comment that I'm referring to is on the video titled, God Never Instituted Religion. The person's original comment says, Revelation is the only book in which the Bible promises you a blessing if you read it, ... And then I replied to that comment. So my comment is a sub-comment. I think what I'll do, just to be sure here, is I will select all, copy. I have learned the hard way. I'm going to copy that comment, put it in my notes, so that if for some reason I am no longer able to get that comment on the YouTube video that I posted it on, for whatever reason, Bobby, I'll still have it if I want to make a video to speak on it. Because it's a comment to a comment, which means if that person deletes their comment, which I don't see happening, but it's possible. Also, YouTube likes to hide comments from me for some reason. I think it's a glitch in the system, but I don't understand the whole thing yet. Either way, now it's not going to take me half an hour to find it either. It's right here, my notes. So that said, appreciate y'all watching the video. I appreciate you more if you let me know your thoughts, even briefly, in the comments section. Even if it's as little as, great job, or you suck, or I wasted my entire day watching this video. I appreciate them all. Drop in the comments. Anyway, moving on. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Hit the bell so you know when the next video is coming up. Hit the like button. all the YouTube goodies. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Let's see if this clicker will actually work. Wait, watch. Let's see. We'll flip it around. See that? Flip the video around. My dirty walls. I have a 5-6-year-old that likes drawing on the light switches. I haven't cleaned it off yet. Bye-bye.